Hi, welcome back to the Keto's YouTube channel. Today we're going to look at how to do Entra ID authentication using username and password. If you want to do it using certificates, I'm going to link that video down below, and this one is just using username and password. So the first thing we have to do is go to our documentation and then go to register EZRADIUS application in your tenant. And in here, we're going to have to do it twice, one for the Keto's application and one for the EZRADIUS application. And you have to do this with a global administrator. If you do it with your regular account, it's not going to work. And this basically gives EZRADIUS the right accesses to be able to view the stuff it has to view, like your groups and stuff like that, for access to your Wi-Fi. So we're going to open it up here in the new tab, and we're going to select the global administrator. We're going to accept the usages. We're going to close this. We're going to open this one in the new tab and do that again. Once we have done that, the next thing we have to do is create our subscription. And we have two options. In this video, I'm going to be doing the Azure way, purchasing it through the Azure portal that will automatically charge it to your Azure bill and all that stuff. We also offer it straight in our portal. You enter your credit card information and we can charge you directly to your credit card. But in this case, I'm just going to do Azure, but just so you know, we have both. So I'm going to go to portal.azure.com. We're going to click create resource. We're going to type EZRADIUS. And I'm going to select my plan. We're going to click subscribe. We're going to name it and we're going to put it in a resource group. And this doesn't actually create any Microsoft resources. This will just create a SaaS resource for billing, but there's no Azure resources, VMs, or anything being configured. And you're going to be charged just by the uses that you use that you have seen in our pricing page. So there's no extra cost for doing it through Microsoft. Now that it's done, we're going to click configure account. This is going to send us to our EZRADIUS. We're going to select our location, and we're going to click create instance. Now we're going to have our instance where it is. So you can see here is usaezradius.io. I recommend bookmarking this URL so you have it, and then you can go straight here every single time instead of having to go to Azure and so on. So now that we have our instance, we have to create our access policy. And as always, in settings, you can add more people. So if you have more people that are going to be managing it, you can add more people here in settings as an owner or as a network administrator. But in this case, I'm just going to go here to policies. And you'll see a lot of policies here. In my case, in yours, it will be empty. So first thing we have to do is name it. So let's call it Entra ID. And then we're going to put our public IP address. If you have multiple IP addresses, you will have to add each one by one. But if it's only one, you can even click the IP address button and add it. If you have multiple, you can also use a CSV if it's like too many. And you can even put a description, so like Boston office. And next thing, accepted certificate authorities. We're just going to ignore that because that's for certificate-based authentication. Server certificate, we're going to just leave it as auto-generated. EZRADIUS is going to take care of it. It will create a certificate for us. So next thing we have to do is create our Entra ID policy. And in this case, I'm just going to do one. So you're just going to do enable identity provider IP delegation. And you could do multiple and put them into different VLAN groups using Entra ID groups. So like, for example, here I could check, like, are you in the students group? If you are, going here. But in this case, we're just going to leave it as one. And we're going to add that policy. And then we're going to save it. So in this case, we're going to use Meraki, and we're going to copy the first IP address, and we're going to go to Meraki, SSIDs. We're going to go to the SSID we want to configure. And we're going to do enterprise authentication with my Radius server. And in here, we're going to go to Radius servers. And in here, I have already set it up before. But basically, you would come here, you would put the IP address. And I always put one IP address from one region and one from the other. So in this case, one from east, one from west. So I already copied the one from east. Now I have to come here and get the password. So I'm just gonna come here and get the password. And you can always do the test. This is gonna fail. So I'll show you kind of how it looks. So it's gonna say authentication failed when testing. This means that the Radius server was reached, but your credentials were incorrect. This is okay. This is how it's supposed to be in Meraki. It's just Meraki uses PAP, which is old. So it'll just say we failed because we know that doesn't exist. But that means that you're connected and good to go. Other than that, you would do the same with accounting for both IP addresses. And then we're gonna enable Radius testing. This is just so it tests whether or not it's reachable. And then we're gonna go to advanced settings, and this one is already pre-set up for me, but you wanna do the server timeout 10 seconds. Some of them allow 30 seconds, mine doesn't. If it allows 30, I would do 30. Then EAP timeout 30, EAP max retries 5, EAP identity timeout 30, EAP identity retries 5, EAPOL key timeout 2000, and then EAPOL key retries 4. Then we're gonna come here and click save. And then after that, we can go into our network, and we might have to wait a little bit for it to come up. So then we're gonna go here to our network, and we're gonna go to the Entra ID Wi-Fi that we just created. We're gonna use our username and password, so it's gonna be, and this is just a one that I have. You would be using your Entra ID username and password. Okay, we're gonna click connect, and now we're connected. Thank you so much for watching, and if you have any questions, please let us know.